Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello,
And
Scott.
we have
What happened?
Did he go away?
Believe we
No.
lost.
No, I
You
see everyone.
I don't see Scott.
No, I don't see Scott either.
Okay. Yeah, he'll be right back, I'm sure. Steve, can you go ahead and forward the meeting information to Doug so he can be ready for closed session? Thank you. All right, here he comes.
so hi again. Sorry. I work in technology and I have no idea what just happened. So I am showing 12:02 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and let's call this meeting to order. Deidre, can you do us a quick roll call for attendance, please?
I can. All right, so we have Scott Iden.
Here.
Michelle Durner.
Here.
Barbara Marchioni. I thought I saw Barbara. Oh, Barbara?
She's here.
Okay. Diane Holt.
Here.
Dixie Newsome.
Here.
Nicholas Potter.
Here.
Paula Rigsby.
Here.
Cheryl Hickman.
Here.
All right, all board members are present. Non-board members attending, we have Steve Pond, and we have Cheryl Byrne, and myself, Kaditra Cooper, and Scott. During closed session, we will have Doug Howard join us for the principal evaluation.
And may I just say how amazing all of you are?
I'm going to forward the information to Donna because it doesn't look like she got the remote meeting information.
Who did not? Doug? Who did not get the remote?
Donna, I'm sending it right now. She's texting me.
And I just got a text from Steve Pond saying that lost me from the call. Thanks, Steve.
My pleasure, sir.
Before we go to approval of the agenda, and Kaditra, I know you're working in the background to get Donna in here. I'm not sure if it is specifically, it should be on the packet that you received. So we're gonna leverage discussion item 5A to address identifying potential board members, and in that envelope of time, we will answer questions for Cheryl and have that conversation. 5C, hopefully you guys have looked at IRS Form 990 because the board has to approve that before I sign off as acting president. For item 5D, we are going to table that discussion item for today. So mark that on your agenda, 2022-2023 Parent-Student Handbook. We're going to table that. And I think that was the extent. That's what I've got as far as the extent to the changes of the version I received, the printed version of the agenda in the packet. So with those changes, yes, ma'am.
I am so sorry. This is Donna. I had some difficulty with getting on. I'm glad I caught you though. I need to ask if you can do a quick closed session for some legal issues regarding a couple of matters in your agenda that I need to talk with the board about. I don't think it'll take very long, but if you can insert that somewhere, that would be awesome.
Okay, so we already have a closed session that Doug will be joining us for
Okay.
to do an evaluation, but do we need to, but that specific purpose of that closed session was for principal evaluation. Do we need
Just
to?
add, we can just add attorney-client information in there as well.
That sounds fine. Thanks.
And welcome, Ms. Rasco. Nice to have you
Thank you
with
so
us.
much.
Hi, Don.
Sorry about that, Donna.
That's okay.
Okay. All right, so with those noted changes to the May 3rd agenda, can we please have a motion from the board?
This is Cheryl, I
for-
so move.
This is
Thank you,
Dixie.
Cheryl.
I second.
Khadija, can we roll call real quick, please?
Sure can. Hi,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Barbara. Barbara, I can't hear you today.
Tell her speaker.
Okay. Diane,
Yes.
Dixie,
Yes.
Nicholas,
Yes.
Paula. Paula,
She's
you're on mute.
Yes.
And Cheryl.
Yes.
All right. So the motion was made by Cheryl and seconded by Dixie and approved in roll call.
Unanimous. Yes, thank you all. All right, well, let's move forward to item number 4, and that is our management reports. And our illustrious Mr. Pond, can you please kick us off with your principal report?
Well, thanks so much, everybody. Happy May. We have begun our 3rd North Carolina check-in assessment. We're finishing that this week, and we have a data analysis day on Friday afternoon when we close 2 hours early to allow for several hours for our teams to look at their student performance data and to continue to strategize on ways to best support their learners. We have gotten lots and lots of applications over the past month. We're up 515 since last month. We continue to add to our wait list with those applications because we have offered all seats for next year. We continue to offer those seats for students who left us at spring break. That's a big time for families to move and transition because it's about 10 days or so. A couple of neat things that happened this month. We got a visit from a professor at North Carolina Central University where I got my teaching certificate and invited them out because we want to really establish a pipeline and work with local universities to have their students do their student teaching with us and the other NHA schools in the area in order to potentially recruit them as future teachers. If they're already here at our schools and they see us and they like the NHA way and the Peak Charter way, then we have a much better opportunity to get them on board in a teaching position or a teacher in residence. And so Dr. Hicks was out here with us. We spent an hour and a half together toward the school, talked a lot about our mission and vision and our individualized purpose for what we do, as well as mine as a school leader. She then invited me out to a job fair they were doing that we hadn't known about because we're a charter school and they didn't know about us on Friday. And we found some candidates that we and potentially other schools are interviewing for positions next year. And we were able to make connections with several of the faculty members there. So it was really a great thing. And they'd like to have me and some of us out next year to begin the school year and talk to their rising seniors, as well as they talked about bringing us back during the year to do some seminars and different sessions. So really neat partnership that's been born there with North Carolina Central. Additionally, we have worked in the past with Teachers of Tomorrow, which is an alternatively licensed route for people to become teachers as a second career. So if they already have a degree in something, they can supplement that degree with classroom training and fieldwork experience in education to be able to become a classroom teacher through the residency license program, which then allows them to be a beginning teacher and work towards their clear career license status. And so we've worked with them. So the other day I did a session for about 20 of their participants who are looking for teaching jobs to introduce them to NHA and to introduce them to Peak as well. And we were able to make some connections. We have a couple interviews set up this week and next to fill teacher in residence positions next year. TIRs, for those of you who may not remember, are additional teachers that we are blessed to have from NHA that can come on board and start with us. So if we do have a time where a teacher does need to leave, that teacher is on deck and ready to go to the batter's box and jump right into that classroom and teach. So that's been a really neat opportunity over the past 2 weeks. 2 different avenues for partnership, and they both were really successful. I've been asked to come back and do a series of monthly meetings and seminars with the Teach for Tomorrow candidates. There's about 420 students in their program across the state. So hopefully the numbers continue to grow and we can continue to share candidates with all the other 14 NHA schools in the state. We continue to work to meet our goals. We started tutoring right before spring break at the end of March, and it goes through May 26th, after which end of grade testing begins this month. Students, as I mentioned, are taking their check-in test number 3 now. We'll have that day to day this Friday afternoon to work with them to analyze that. The end of grade testing begins the 27th of May, which is a Friday. It can go as long as the last day of school, June 10th, after which we're going to be able to work with our students who need additional support and remediation, and we'll bring them in for the 2 weeks between June 15th and 29th, and we'll work with them in 4th through 8th grade English and 3rd through 8th grade math, which are the EOG tested years, for 3.5 hours a day, and then the same dates for our students in 3rd grade reading, because they need to go to reading camp. So it's a longer program as determined by the state. It'll be 75 hours in those 2 weeks, and then they'll be able to retake their test in order to strive to meet the Read to Achieve program. We have filled all teaching positions. We're very excited to say, especially in this market. We were able to recruit 2 great teachers who have already begun, and we just made an offer to hire our part-time technology support person, who's actually a teammate from a former school I worked at between 2009 and 14. He found us without knowing I was here, and they didn't know at NHA that I knew him, but we brought him over for a tour and he interviewed with our technology teacher. And so he's able to come on right on time to help support our students' technology needs throughout the season of end of grade testing, end of the year, and the summer. We had a really great event last Thursday. It was our fun run and our color run. If you don't know what a color run is, it's where you throw colored powder at everybody as they run by and everybody's bright and cheerful. With it, we restricted that to the middle school students because we felt they could be a little more safe with bags of powder. But our kindergarten through 5th graders had a really nice fun run activity for about a half hour, and they had music and dancing and everything else. So it's been a great month, and we're looking forward to as great of a May as possible to bring us to the end of the year in June. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer, as always.
Team, questions for Mr. Bond?
And this is our staff appreciation week. Thank you. And I mentioned this is our staff appreciation week. So Cheryl, I know, is on, and we've partnered with PTO to do something celebrating teachers each day. So we have, for example, they're doing the ice cream wagon today. We have pizza lunch tomorrow. Thursday is going to be a bagel and pastry breakfast plus a snack cart in the afternoon. And then the big one is Friday from PTO. They're doing Chick-fil-A breakfast for everybody. So our team is really excited and feeling the love, and we got some gifts for them, and parents are loving on everybody. So it's a great uplifting week.
That's a lot of food and treats.
It is.
Let's not put ourselves in any liability where we're contributing
Our
to the
love language
delinquency
as
of
a-
anybody's health.
Our love language as a collective staff is food. I know that's not one of the 5 love languages, but receiving gifts probably includes food. So we've learned that through our 5 years that food makes us tick. And so even Dean Gorman's mom has gotten in on it. She made a beautiful cake yesterday and oatmeal raisin cookies today and put them all in the break room for people. So
I am on the wrong side of the county today.
you're welcome anytime.
Come by for a surprise visit. Sorry, team, any further questions from the president's report? Any elaboration you'd like to hear? Steve, I have one very quick question.
Sure.
I thought I saw like 86 point, it's a pretty good number.
86.4.
Yeah, on the
conference.
level of engagement for the parent teacher. How does that compare to the past? And as our number one guru at the school, how do you feel about that? I feel like that's a strong number.
It's a great number. And being a charter school, we have more parent buy-in and commitment and partnership than we have at public system schools that I've been at. Our goal is always to be as close to 100% as possible. Teachers did report with these that very few were not reachable. Very few did not reply back or call back. We invited them multiple times. They picked sign up times that they could be available. And then our teachers worked through that window with them. Some of them just said, hey, I don't need a conference. I look on the parent portal, I see my kids' grades. I emailed the teachers through the portal, and we email back and forth with administrators, teachers, paraprofessionals. So the majority of those, I would say all but 2 or 3% were parents that just said, hey, I don't need one. Save the time for somebody who does. Everything's cool. There were a couple that we couldn't reach, and they emailed and called multiple times, and you're always going to have that. But we're pretty happy with 86.4 in a pandemic. It's actually up from where we've been last year or even in the fall.
Super. All right, team, if there's no further questions, we need to go ahead and move forward to our board fund report. And our Ms. Cooper, who is suffering from an ailment.
I'm okay. But I know I usually share my screen with you guys. I won't be sharing my screen today. I'm just going to work off the hard copy. So if everybody can just reference their packets, that'd be great. So the board fund report, I did put in that you guys would like more detail. That is not reflected in this report. I think they're still going through the process of working with Oracle. So I just wanted you to know that request has been made, even though you're not seeing it reflected. So this on page 4 of your board packet is your board fund report as of April 15th. You all have an available balance of thank you, Steve, of $41,586.66. Does anyone have any questions regarding the balance?
So just to validate, Khaditra, we noticed this change, what, I think?
Last month.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was last month or 2 meetings ago.
It was 2 meetings ago.
But with respect to the detail that we're used to seeing, that's something that's still in play or to be developed or returned to that detail level. You mentioned Oracle. So has NHA just gone to using a different software? And
yes, ERP.
The base. Okay.
So they moved from Lawson to Oracle.
Okay.
So it's for all of their human resources and financial information.
Because, you know, Michelle Durner, she likes to see the detail. So does Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna comment, but since you bring me into this, I figure the level of complexity that the financial statements take, and we have those, like, I don't understand why the board fund report can't be replicated with what we had previously without, a whole lot of work, considering the financial statements seem to be working.
Yeah, I think we actually just got those financial statements in because you guys haven't seen those in a few months either. So I think they're working on at least the reports are in the packet, which I'm so grateful for because initially I was having to request this information. So it's just the process. So I would just like you guys I just want to ask, kind of be patient, and I'm still trying to make sure I understand the process to be able to share if something's going to be different, what's going to be different with the boards that we work with. But I know you guys want details. I have shared that.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask that you all anticipate quite a bit of rollover. We're not doing clubs and intramural sports and those things because of the pandemic this year. So a good bit of that will roll over. We do have some professional development coming up and things that you've already approved. So that may hit in June or July. But like last year, why this number is larger than usual, we appreciate your understanding that we're not spending it because we want to keep people safe. And we hope to do much more normal things next year with clubs and intramural sports and the coaching and all those things that we usually are able to provide with your approval. So a good bit of this will roll over to next year, but we do anticipate some normal spending out of your gracious allotment to us.
Well, if things going as they are, we'll certainly have some rollover, and we'll have a big bucket of money. to help support the activities at school. So, and Khaditra, so this is just really more of a observation or more of just opining on the topic. I say that if we go through the month of May and we have our June meeting and we have this same brief high level summary, you know what, actually, let's plan on it for June, if you don't mind. If you could jot down, there's got to be something in that software that allows for a summary or supplemental report capturing the details that are not in this high level summary. So I think this is our third month of seeing the high level summary. So going into the June meeting, if it's available, if you don't mind, let's work with our partners in that department and let's see if we can get basically I'd like to see more Michelle, I don't know about you. I'd like to see a line by line summary of where we are in the moment, just to remain cognizant and keep it visually in front of us around what we spent, what we haven't, what we've allocated, etc. Those details.
And if I could ask, along with this report, this is where the funds for like the appreciation come from as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So like we did the administrators. So those receipts, how are they documented and to whom are they turned into?
I can take the receipts. You can actually email them to me since we're not meeting in person, and it will go against the resolution for staff appreciation.
Okay.
Did that answer your question, Diane?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Thanks. I will do that.
And Diane, we'll take action today, item 7H.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll be taking, well, I mean, it's down in the action items, but we can have a brief moment of discussion and then look to approve the staff appreciation funds.
Now, Scott, is this going to be in addition to the staff appreciation funds that were approved back in January? Is this totally different?
Well, I apologize. I was thinking that 7H was approval of board funds for this.
When I look on the sheet, I'm seeing that it says approved resolutions since 12/31/21, and on 1/11/22, the board approved $1,000 for staff appreciation. Are we approving additional money?
I think that was for Valentine's Day or something.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll just need to name it something different, so I'll make sure I fix that.
Yeah, this is where the actual receipts would come in handy on the report, so we would know what we have spent.
Makes perfect sense.
And this would be for the administrative staff and not the school staff, right? So to make it a distinction that way, to say office admin staff.
Okay.
And my main concern here is that we take action necessary to make Diane whole on personal outlays for staff appreciation.
For sure. Yeah.
Perfect.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to try to find my checkbook, and I haven't written a check in so long. I don't even know if I have a checkbook anymore. Okay. So we've got monthly financial. I know it's next in your packet, but we have monthly financial statements as item 5B. I don't believe we have any more business under item 4, management reports. Steve, anything additional? Anything you want to add before we move forward?
No, not at this time. Thanks.
Okie doke. All right, then let's move on to item or section 5, our discussion items. Item 5A is identifying potential board members. You guys have received Cheryl's letter of intent along with her resume. And I want to open that up to the board for any conversation. We have an item, election of board president, 7F, under our action items. I don't know that we're going to be taking action on that today, but we need to go ahead and have some open conversation about the possibilities of Cheryl joining us as a board member, and specifically her interest in election to the role of board president. So perhaps we've never really had this scenario before, not while I've led these meetings. Perhaps we should open this up with some commentary from you, Cheryl. You're on mute. You're
it's a lot of stuff going on today. I'm sorry. So I'm new to Apex, North Carolina. I've lived here about 5 years. I have had the opportunity to get involved in many things since I've moved here. I have been involved in school since I had a kindergartner, which is many years ago. She's now 16 and a junior in high school. Before that, I sat on a number of boards as a young up-and-coming professional. So I have had a lot of experience in this arena. I feel like I am well-versed in the public school arena. I am still wrapping my arms around charter schools, and I'm sure I have a lot to learn. I'm a quick learner, but I do have experience in curriculum. In New York, I was PTA president, and before I was that, I was involved with our school board. It was a small district, similar to what Peak reminds me of, and we were we were Governor Cuomo's least favorite school board in the entire state. So everything that we did was under scrutiny. There was nothing that school district did where the governor was not lashing out at us in some way. So I got very well versed in how curriculum works, how compensation works, how many things work that I didn't think I needed to know about, but now I do. And I have kept my role in the schools as PTA member and or president just to understand what's going on, because that's where I can make a difference. So it's one of the places where I know that I can have a positive impact. It's a place I know I can watch out for teachers, staff, parents. I am definitely, I'm sure Principal Pond could tell you, I am definitely a Doberman for the school when it comes to that. I do care about what the parents think, but at the end of the day, particularly here, this is a charter school and you can come and go as you choose. You're not required to be here. So I definitely watch who walks in the door, who's speaking on behalf of me as the president of this PTO. And that's really how I look at schools. I'm at the service of the school and of the parents. But at the end of the day, I have to make sure that within these confines of this walls, things run appropriately, and particularly with my name on it. Again, I have a lot of understanding about curriculum. I do understand EOGs, EOCs, really out of the love of Governor Cuomo. I am currently involved in many other community organizations because I do feel like as someone in the community, I like my school attachment. I also feel like being in the community serves me better having that school attachment. I feel like it's a two-way street for my community. So I am first in holding meetings, having meetings. I'm an accountant by trade. I hope to never be treasurer again as long as I live. I really do not enjoy that job. So I've moved off from that because I did do that as a profession. So I do not enjoy doing that in my volunteer time. But I am happy to answer any of your questions. Whatever you need to know about me, I'm happy to answer. I have 3 kids. One is in a virtual, my oldest is in a virtual private school right now. That is as a result of COVID and all things that have hit high schoolers sideways and out of the blue. My middle guy is a sophomore at Apex Friendship High School, and he cannot work independently. He needs to be externally motivated. And then my youngest is here at Peak Charter. He happens to have Down syndrome, and Peak does an excellent job of all of our children of really keeping the focus on the child first and where they meet in the middle with peak is how it works out. So I've been completely pleased. I've been here for 2 years, and I just have a wide variety of school experience to share. I've been in giant districts with Wake County and very small districts in New York, and there probably has not been an organization I haven't been involved in. And now it's my time as I've gotten older to really put my efforts in what I enjoy. And I no longer just take things because there's no one else to do it. So anything you'd like to ask me, feel free.
So board, let's not be shy. This is your opportunity to hear it straight from Cheryl's mouth.
I'm going to just say I agree with Principal Pond. Food is a language of love that is one that I'm very fond of as well. So I completely agree with Principal Pond on that. If you have any questions, really feel free to answer. You can email me outside this forum if you need to. It's really up to you guys.
Hi, Cheryl. I just have one question.
Hi.
Could you tell us about your involvement with curriculum development for a local school or even for a larger school district?
So when I was at Flora Park Belrose School in New York, that was the time when we went from, I don't know what it was called before. I have to tell you, I was really oblivious to curriculum before that. My kids went from counting from 0 to 100 in second grade to 0 to 1,000 in third grade. So what that did for me, I have not personally developed curriculum, but I do understand that there are, for instance, in Wake County, there are the guidelines that are handed out to us in Wake County. Everything that we've looked at, I've sat on their SIP committee as well. You really have to look and see what is getting taught, where the deficiencies are. At Apex, well, I don't mind saying the school, but at one of the local schools here in the middle school, there was a definite deficiency in the bell curve of scores. So we really, in the committee, really dug deep into that. And I have no problem pulling out data to bring that to the board or the principal or whoever needs that to really look at why our curriculum is failing the students. Or is there a teacher issue? Is it a student issue? Is it a curriculum issue? Is that we don't have the proper material issue? So I'm not a developer of curriculum, but I do know how to take a look at the bell curve and figure out where our issues are. And I understand that some of those conversations are difficult. They're not easy to bring up. It is not easy to address some of these things with principals or teachers, but it has to get done. So I do not shy away from that. And if you call up that local area principal, she would be glad to tell you that I definitely am good at looking through data. And I don't know if Peak has this, but at Wake County, I think I saw it in the last meeting. I think you guys, maybe it was the state that handed it out, the 150 things, the bullet points of items that we had to hit as schools from DPI. We hit those at the local middle school. And a lot of things we tackled was curriculum and really understanding where these grades were falling off and how we could improve on those grades. So I really don't have a problem pulling that apart. I'm data driven. I don't know if that's the right answer you're looking for, but I am data driven and I don't mind pulling apart information.
Great, thank you.
That's got to be the CPA training in you.
It is. It is. And I mean, honestly, those meetings are not fun because you don't want to dig deep sometimes with people who you truly enjoy as a person, but sometimes you have to dig deep and look at that data that's a little uncomfortable.
Good question, Dixie. Good conversation. I know some questions have got to be spinning in the heads of the rest of the board members.
And Scott and board, I would encourage you all to ask your questions now versus any emails outside of the board meeting. So therefore you all are collectively
I would agree.
having
Yes.
this conversation.
Yes. And that goes in line with council's repeated advice around conducting board business in email. So now's the time to ask the questions. And Donna, I'll look to you and Khaditra for potentially some guidance here, but I have not read the bylaws. I don't know what common practice might be here. However, I think that it would be completely acceptable to actually take action on Cheryl's election as board president today. Cheryl, and sorry, did someone have a
I
comment?
just wanted to interrupt and say, whether or not we go forward here, I am going to be on every meeting from now on. I mean, I'm sorry that I didn't do it from the beginning. I really am. I probably should have been a little bit more involved because that's how I've been in the past. I do feel like we have a long relationship together, no matter what position I'm in. So I feel like you all are stuck with me. So I just hope that we are getting off on the right foot. And if this does not go down the path where we need to be, whatever path we go down, it's going to be the right path. That's what I would like to say.
Well, Cheryl, if I could, am I interrupting you though, Scott?
Go.
Is Scott there? Oh,
No, go.
okay. I just had, hi Cheryl, I'm
Hi.
Diane, as you well know probably from, but in pursuing, the endeavor of becoming president of the board and everything, I just wanted to ask about NHA and the anchor of the school and the framework that we all have been indoctrinated with. How familiar are you with all of that, Cheryl?
Well, I don't know. You just named a couple things I didn't know about. I'm not actually sure what I'm missing. I guess that's what I would say. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm happy to brush up on that. I don't know. I only know what I know of the school from being here. I don't know what the philosophy was for starting it. I know that we are scholar focused. I understand how charter schools work. As you can see, I'm here. I'm not against charter schools. I don't know if that's the angle you're going. I don't interact with someone who says, well, charter schools are bad. I don't believe that. I believe in school choice.
I think what Diane was driving towards was, where are you at, and I'm guessing at 0.
That would be fine.
Well, where are you along the lines of, because all of us now, some of us have been on the board so long, I can't even remember, Khaditra, what that basically that orientation type package that we delivered to potential board members, and allowing them to get oriented. I think, Diane, is that what you were asking basically?
Yes, and I'm thinking personally.
I do not have that.
From my point of view, personally, it's taken me so long to get to where I am with a comfort level of NHA and well, as you can see in the packets and the documents and everything. And I just wondered, had you had any kind of interaction or endeavor with the framework and the structure of NHA and everything? So that was my only question.
Not anything that has not been given to any other parent here.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with the moral focus, the pillars. I understand all that. Anything above and beyond that, I would have to say no.
Okay.
But I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to read up on that.
Thank you.
Well, Diane, actually, that's an excellent question, because that really should be step one. As part of identifying potential board members, and especially if we have somebody who's specifically interested in an
Yes.
officer's position on the board.
Yeah, like
And Cheryl with the C, I'll say that just from an observation standpoint, I think I think one of the number one criteria for qualification is really passion. I would say probably the top three are passion, um, love for our students, our children, because frankly, that's why we're here.
Mhm.
I'm forgetting one of them. Passion, love. Well, look at me. I've just got too many work things on my mind that I just completely forgot the third one. So
Commitment, does that sound good?
Mhm. Commitment. That's a great one.
I think that rounds it out very nicely, Cheryl with an S.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Um,
Scott, do
so I
you mind
think
if I ask a question really quick of Cheryl with the C?
question away. That's what we need to do here in this section.
All right. So Cheryl, I guess my question would be, what do you feel that your attributes are that you could bring to this board as a new board member?
It's a really good interview question. I was just writing notes on the side. I have to go interview at the high school this week. That's a really good question. I feel like I have a very strong personality. I definitely like to delve into the details. I also can see 40,000 feet above, and I can see 5 feet above. I have that is one of the things that I find a good quality about myself. I'm not myopic. I don't just look at 40,000 feet, and I don't just look at in the dirt, right? I'm definitely, I can look at different levels. I have, not right now because it's a little nerve wracking, but I definitely have decent communication skills when I'm not in this position. I do have a passion for education and how that education and that facility and the school fit into the community. So I do like to I see our community as our stakeholders, our parents are our stakeholders, our teachers, our administrators. I definitely have an appreciation for the levels of school. And also, I can take the emotion out of it because I know from a parent of 3, with each having a different place of weakness or strength, there is a lot of emotion that goes into a school. And there's a lot of emotion that Principal Pond deals with, that you all deal with, that I deal with from the PTO. There's a lot of conversation that goes on. I'm very thick-skinned. There's a lot of things that just don't bother me. There's things that do bother me, and it's usually not what someone is saying that they do or don't like that I've done. It's more, are we getting results? Are we seeing things that we like? That's what I bring to the table. I'm pretty level-headed. I'm mostly level-headed. I'm not going to lie. Things make me angry, but it's not things that are little. It's usually things that are big picture that we really want to get resolved. I'm not afraid to table something, to get information. I'm definitely a researcher. And I think those are my really strong points. I really find that I enjoy the structure of this right now. And I really enjoy it. So I think just having that passion for doing this is probably my greatest strength.
Thank you. And I think too, board, it's kind of important too, even when you bring new board members on, to let them know what, as a board, your role is, which is governance. So I would like somebody on the board, not me, to actually share what that governance role is with Cheryl with the C. Therefore, she kind of understands the lens that she should be looking at when we're going through board meetings. Ooh, we can't hear you.
Can I just share really quick? I don't know if you all saw that from my resume. I don't know. It's kind of hidden in there sometimes. One of the greatest roles that I've had and I've cherished in my life has been my human resources role. So I do have a strong background in hiring, firing, performance reports, staff development, hiring, really at analyzing someone's position in a company, whether they're a good fit. That is a really strong point that I've always had. So if you know me long enough, I will tell you, and I find it to be a great strength. Sometimes it's a weakness and nobody wants to hear it, but I am someone who can let someone go in about 3 sentences or less and we're done. So I really, if there's a time to belabor something, I know when it is the time to do it and when the time is not to do it. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I do pride myself on it. Good, bad, or indifferent, I do.
Thank you. Barbara, what were you gonna say? I think your microphone is off. We're not able to hear you. Can you call in? No audio, Barbara.
I had that problem, had to switch to a different speaker. So I don't know how to help her.
Now she's on mute. Would anyone, as Barbara is getting her audio together, be able to answer that? We'll share the governance piece with Cheryl, Miss Cheryl with the C.
This is Cheryl with an S. And I will say, since I've only been on the board since November, I can share what I know so far. And I feel like almost the more I learn, the more I see how much I need to learn. But one thing that seems apparent to me is that most of the management is taken care of by NHA. So the board's function is to oversee. So correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who's been on this board for a while. The board's function is to oversee the various aspects as far as making policies. I mean, we have the face covering policies that we have dealt with. But it's more, to me, it's more of an overseeing, making sure that things are done properly and in the best interest of the children and the school. Any comments, you more veteran members?
No, I would agree with exactly what you've said, Cheryl, and that in terms of, board functions, it's really just the governance and the oversight of policy, strategy, setting directions, and then fiscal responsibility being, a very big part of that, looking at the financial statements, making sure that, money is being spent in an appropriate manner. Outside of that, we, only get involved in things as they are brought to the board, like a disciplinary action, HR very rarely. So really it's just when it becomes a board matter and is brought to us. Outside of that, it's very high level. We help steer the bike. We don't drive the bike is always the example that's been given to me in my board experience. So as a fellow parent, when I interviewed and joined the board 5 years ago, I think, when Peak first started, it was, that was kind of a big thing where the board that was in place that had actually started Peak, that in allowing another parent on the board, they wanted it very well known that, we're not here to get into the details of what our specific children do at the school or don't do. And, driving poor Steve crazy, that it is about what's best for Peak and helping Peak meet the goals of the charter that's in place.
I appreciate you guys saying that. What you explained is exactly how I thought you were going to explain that. I have gone back and looked at board minutes. Just seeing the financials the last couple of months indicates to me that where this board is focused, that it's definitely an oversight board and a governance board versus a heavy day-to-day operational board. I don't see it being a very operational board. I do understand that different. That was a clear picture for me. Thank you. But I have looked at the old board minutes and I do feel like I understood the board to be more of a governance than day-to-day operational. So
I
thank
think
you.
this is great. This is great conversation. Khaditra, can we go ahead and make sure that we get a prospective board member package to Cheryl?
When you say prospective board member package, what?
That I mean, gosh, it's been so many years ago, as Michelle mentioned, I can't remember what we
Oh,
call
after
it.
after you guys go ahead and do whatever your next steps are, I can make sure that she sent whatever is requested by the board. Is that
Yes,
what
there
you're saying?
there was always an orientation and
Once you were elected as a board, once you got
exactly.
brought on as a board member, but not before.
That's
No,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't send them out beforehand.
I seem to recall receiving information in preparation of becoming a board member.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Well, we had a one-on-one with someone who was bringing a prospective candidate to the board.
Okay.
And it was, we just kind of had conversation about the board and what the board does. And that's how it was handled, at least when I came on board.
Yeah, now I've done those, which is pretty much just making sure that the interested party understands the role of the EMO, the role of the authorizer, and the role of the board. So I've done those, but I think the onboarding packet, that's about 60 pages or so, I typically do that after the person is brought on as a board member and before their first board meeting. So that's what I do in between.
That's the way I remember it too. That as a board, we had the conversation as we're doing now with the prospective person. And then we had another conversation regarding what we wanted our next steps to be. And if it was to bring the person on board, then something was sent out to the person.
And since COVID, I've been like Cheryl with an S, we did our Zoom session and things like that. So I've been doing it via Zoom, the onboarding.
Well, then it sounds like that may be our appropriate next step, Khaditra, to have that, whatever we call it, a pre-orientation with Cheryl with the C.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Yeah, once you guys make your motion and do whatever you're going to do, just tell me what to do.
No. I mean, do we need to have that pre-board decision conversation between you and Cheryl?
Oh, I can meet with her. That's not a problem. Just to talk about the role of the EMO, the role of...
To further elaborate on the expectations, and define some areas, et cetera. I mean, I believe that would be our next step ahead of, unless you're prepared to go ahead and take action on it today.
I'm just kidding. I just want to let you guys know why my interest got piqued is because I heard you guys in the last meeting, and there's many meetings I go to, and I just tune out. They need a board member. I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe one day. But I have a special liking for Peak on so many levels. So I just don't want you guys to think that I'm kind of fly by night. Here I am. I really wanted you to have a full board. I know that I have the ability to fill that board. I think I have a pretty good understanding of how you guys operate, which again was made more clear to me by just the Treasury report. And I really just want to see our school succeed. And if this is a step that I can take, that's great. And again, if this is not the right step at the right time, that's fine as well. But I do have Peak in the best interest. This isn't really about me. It's not about my resume. I actually had to pull my resume out and try to fix it over the break week because I really just don't really pay attention to that sometimes. But I really just have Peak's best interest at heart. So I'm happy to kind of fulfill that nominating committee role. If you want me to meet with Khaditra, I'm happy to do whatever, but my really main focus is to see Peak and our scholars succeed in the best way possible. And I do understand the last couple of years with COVID has been awful for parents and teachers. And I would love to see us all get to a great place again where everyone's happy and we have full boards and we have full parent participation as needed, not at their discretion, at our discretion sometimes. So I just wanted to make that clear with you guys. I really was moved at the last meeting to say, hey, it was everything I had to not put my hand up and say, I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys.
All right. Thank you,
So I just want to
Cheryl.
let you know that my heart is in the right spot, and whatever you need to do, I'll be here for as many years as Jack is here and as many years as you all will have me. So we have a long ride together, and I thank you for your time. And I wish you could all be here to have ice cream, but you can't.
Thank you,
Maybe
Cheryl.
next
And
year.
Scott, just in the efforts of time, we can just I'll just follow up offline. But since it's almost 1, I just wanted you guys to be kind of conscious of your time.
Yes, I'm actually very concerned about the time because I have an absolute 100% hard stop at 1:30 Eastern time. And
And
we
you guys
have
have the evaluation.
we have a ton of stuff to go through.
Yeah.
So I am going to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm going to ask Barbara, you're probably going to want to reach through the computer and smack me, but if you're able to stay longer than after 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, I'm
We
going to
can't
ask
even
you.
hear Barbara, Scott. That might be a problem.
She's still.
Yeah, her audio is still not working properly.
Okay. Michelle,
But I
don't
want
know
to make
which.
sure you're involved in the principal evaluation. So that's why I want to make sure we move forward.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get down through the discussion items. Michelle, I don't know if you had any questions. I went through the financials that were included. I didn't see anything that alarmed me as normal, out of whack or out of line or I didn't. Do you have any questions on the financial statements?
I don't. They all look fine to me from what I
Okay.
would expect.
Well, I concur with that. All right, so let's. And sorry, board. Any questions from the board or officers on the financial statements that were provided in this packet?
There was just one question, and I can send an email to Khadidra. It looked like to me that one of the numbers on page 7, the current activity balance, look like that number should be 1 less, should be 19,906. When I did the math, subtracting the total liabilities, and this was under the school services fund. When you subtract 8,266 from 28,172, I got 19,906. I mean, that's not a big thing, but it just caught my attention.
I know how sometimes too, when they actually put the information in the system, it may have change involved.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's a rounding.
Yeah, it's a rounding.
Okay. It was just a little odd there for me. That was the only little.
Nice detail though there, Dixie.
It just caught my attention. That's all.
But yeah, I think that's completely attributed to the digits we do not see on the report out.
Oh, okay.
And if it was any bigger of a discrepancy, I think we would
right.
ask
That's what I'm saying.
to
It was
look
very
into
small, tiny, one little dollar.
I have a feeling that was ended in 6 with something at 0.50 or above.
Good. Thank you for sharing that.
Board, any other questions? Any other board members with questions on financial statements? Okay, thank you. Now let's move forward to Form 990 very quickly. Now we're going to table item 5D, that's the parent-student handbook. Form 990, I'm hoping that you guys had an opportunity to look at this. As Donna has shared with us in the past, this is not about reporting income or anything. This is that 8879 form, or excuse me, this is the 990 form for reporting for a 503C. I've looked at this several times. I want to make sure, does the board have any questions that you need to have answered to support understanding of the document? Because as Don has pointed out in past meetings, that the form specifically states that the board has reviewed it and approved it before, I guess I provide a signature, electronic signature as acting president. Any questions on Form 990?
I just wanted to follow up with one thing, which is the calendar reporting year, because I know you guys had questions regarding the board members that were listed. Is it supposed to be current board members, since Linda's name was included? And the response is that this was from 7/1/2020 to 6/30/2021, and Linda was still a board member during that time period.
Okay. The only thing I saw, Khadija, was that under the name and address for the local North Carolina Board of Education, they have 3600 Wake Forest Road. Is that supposed to be the address of the Wake County Public School System?
I'll have to look that up. What page are you on, Dixie?
It has page 24. Well, at the top it says page 2, and at the bottom it says page 24. I could send an email to you about that.
Okay, yeah, let's follow up in email, because I'm pretty sure it probably is, but I can't confirm.
Okay,
it's not fairly certain that is Wake County Board of Education's mail. That's at least one of their mailing addresses.
Okay, Wake County Board of Education, not the school system. Okay, right. Gotcha. Thank you.
And that's a list of entities from which Pete receives funding, and Wake County certainly is one of the entities from which you receive funding.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions, board? I'm going to ask it this way. Well, we're going to cover, gosh, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm concerned about time. Donna, do you have further comment around? I believe that the form, because of the period being reported, and this is my layman's interpretation of it, is that we should have Linda on there.
Yes, I think that part is fine there. And at the very top of the form, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there is a defined time period for the form. I think it's perfectly appropriate given the defined time frame for all of that. My only question was Linda appearing as signatory, because clearly she is not currently an officer with any authority to sign currently, but I'm fine to defer to the auditor who prepared it and you, Scott, to sort that out, because that's not hard to figure out, that she is not currently the president to be able to sign anything on behalf of the board. But of course, having gone through the process you have, I'm expecting by the time you're done with the meeting, you will have minutes that will show that the board approved it. So right. I'm fine with you and the auditor figuring out how to fix the signature block. But otherwise, Linda should certainly appear because she was a member of the board and an officer during that period.
Okay, great. Thank you, Donna. All right, well, let's go ahead and move forward with review of the board self-evaluation. And sorry, I apologize, team. Any other questions around IRS Form 990? I don't want to cut anybody off or. Okay, not hearing any. Let's move forward to 5E, review of the board self-evaluation and evaluation of NHA.
All right, and in the sake of time, what I would like to do this month, I emailed you all, excuse me, I emailed you all this information after the last meeting. So you have the results from the evaluation. I can document in these minutes that you guys do have the results and we can actually talk through them in June due to the time constraints that we're having today. So I'll have it reflective in this month's meeting minutes and next month. Is that okay?
I have no objections. Team?
Fine.
That's great.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, Khaditra, and thank you, team. All right, so quickly, can we have a motion to move into closed session for both attorney-client conversation, attorney-client legal conversation, and for, my brain just went blank.
Principal evaluation.
Principal evaluation. Thank you, Dixie.
We
And
work
we'll
as a
just say
team.
confidential personnel matters.
There you go. Can we have a so move?
This is Diane. I so move.
This is Cheryl. I second it.
Thank you, ladies. Roll call real quick.
Yep. Scott,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Dixie,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Nicholas.
Yes.
Did we lose Barbara? Barbara? Looks like we
All
lost
right.
Barbara.
I'm actually on.
All right. Doug, can you mute your phone?
Yes, please.
All right. So have you guys at 1:05 ready to go into closed session? So I'm going to put you all in a breakout room. Oh, Steve, you're not going in. Okay.
Nope, I figured I'd just stay right here. But remember how much I appreciate you all.